Welcome to Stonk Insights, your one-stop shop for stock and crypto analysis and discovery. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Helium HNT. Not really any update with my mining situation. Everything is still the same. I'm still in the attic. I still need to get onto the roof so I can put up my antenna up on the roof and so I can get better witnesses potentially. So this isn't going to be an update with my situation. I still have my other two miners as well that I need to find locations for. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I did secure another location for another miner in a more heavily saturated area with other miners, so that's going to be great. But because of time, just trying to get the schedules in line, I haven't been able to get over there to put that miner up, so we're still eager to get the other two miners up. Like I said, I still have one 5.8 dBi antenna from Rack that I need to pair with one of these other miners. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be looking at other miners setups. Okay, so we're going to be looking at other miner setups, be it from Reddit or Facebook. We're just going to be taking a look at what other people are doing, just to try to get my mind in the area of setting up an antenna on my roof. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as I do talk about Helium. I talk about Ethereum Classic. I talk about stocks and crypto in general. So if those are subjects that you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Also, if you like the video, if this inspired you, or if you just like this type of content, feel free to hit the like button. It does help me out. I don't know anything about that YouTube algorithm, but it does help me out and I do appreciate it. So we're just taking a quick look at the token right here of Helium, symbol HNT. So we see it's at $22 right now, and it did dip along with all the other cryptos when they took the major dip a couple days ago. And we see that, it has some other dips here, but it's sitting steady around the $22 mark here. Even when it took the dip, it was still high in comparison to when I first started mining Helium. I think it was around $9 to $11. So we are happy to see that even after the halving of Helium, that the price is still keeping up within the $20-ish range. So without further ado, we're just going to hop right into it and just start looking at some of these Helium miner setups. So first is just something lighthearted. Okay, so this is just a Reddit user posting, would this be a good spot for my Bobcat? This is Jack in the Beanstalk. If you don't know that tale, Jack climbs the beanstalk all the way up to the air until he sees some type of kingdom or whatnot. So I thought this was pretty cool, because obviously if you're able to get on top of the beanstalk, you would be the king of mining. All right, so here's another setup. So this is questions regarding the first setup. So first off, this looks like the miner down here, okay, hanging by, let's just zoom in a little bit on that. All right, the miner's hanging by some type of threading. Okay. I see the antenna out here. So just me taking a look at this, the one key thing that I would say, well, two things I would say about this, what I'm looking at. First of all, it looks like this is in Europe. So I'm gonna look at the comments just to confirm that. But the zip tie down here at the connector point, I wouldn't do that, because it looks like it would put some stress on that connector point, and you want this to last over time. And also, I would think this individual will want to get the whole antenna over this metal piping and not have portions of the antenna, in line with the piping, to try to get as little interference as possible. Okay, so those are my only two suggestions about, this user right here. As we see, the bottom zip tie is stressing connect. So that's what I said. So this bottom zip tie down here, I believe is going to be stressing the connector. So yeah, as we look at this bigger picture here, you see they do have a few witnesses. Okay, Essen, Dusseldorf. Yeah, this is Germany, so this is Europe like I thought it was, just looking at that window setup. So they do have some witnesses, but they could probably improve just by making those slight improvements. Okay, so there's not too much they would have to do. All right, so this is just a post, just talk about Helium. This user is just talking about the difference from what they noticed from going from the attic to outside. Okay, and they're just using, I guess, a 3 dBi antenna. So you see here, we see that their earnings from when they're in the attic, and they're getting 8 witnesses, which is, I mean, that's pretty good for being in the attic. I'm guessing they have a highly concentrated area of other miners, But you see this, after I move my antenna outside and on top of my roof, as we look at the earnings here, the earnings, they 10x, they pretty much 10x from, you know, most of these earnings down here are, you know, 3x, you know, but it went up. It pretty much went up. So they went from the first day, they said, from when they went up to the roof, that first day, they went up to 26 witnesses. So they went from 8 witnesses to 26 witnesses. So this last point here, good antenna placement is probably the single most important factor in your earnings. Believe it. I believe it. As we've seen the few videos that I made about, you know, improving your location, my earnings have went up. My earnings are still up from going up. You know, I have seen some dips here and there just because the network has been kind of sketchy here, but just posts like this and other posts showing the difference from when they moved up to the roof, this just gets me more excited to get my miner here at my location onto my roof. All right, so here's another setup. So we're just going to take a closer look here to try to look at it. So you see this at the edge here of the roof. See, they have a antenna, and you see that they have the actual antenna on the top of this pole. So this is great. It looks like they have the proper connectors. It looks like this cable, I can't tell whether if it's LMR 400 or not, but it's going right into the roof here. So let's just bag out of here and look at the next post. Oh, and you see here they have the Bobcat mounted onto one of the roof joists, and we see that everything's plugged in, everything looks great. So this is a pretty good setup. I would rate this setup a 10. All right, so here's another setup. This doesn't appear to be a high roof, but again, I mean, they're outside, you know, and this is probably one of the best locations that they can get. So I can't hate on it, you know. I think this is pretty cool. So you see that they have a thicker, I'm gonna assume this is an LMR 400 cable just because of how thick it is. See, they have a grounding wire here. So they're doing all the right things. This grounding wire is trailing off, so it's probably going into the dirt somewhere. You see this cable is going inside this hole into this garage or house or whatnot. So, you know, there's not a lot to see on this one, but it is outside. It's not indoors. So they are doing what the Helium network is supposed to do, and it's providing coverage for the Helium network. And the best way to do that is to be outside. All right, so here's another person. My custom long AP outdoor setup. Finally, the mining begins. There's not a lot to this post here, but you see, wow, you can tell this is pretty high up just because of how the clouds are positioned. So this looks to be pretty legit here. Wish they were having more posts or more pictures so we can see, you know, the whole setup, but just from seeing a pole and an antenna, I guess it works, right? All right, so look at this one here, and wow, what a massive antenna. As we click into this post here, I mean, it's way up there. You see we have these lines holding this antenna pole up just because of how high it is. We zoom into the top here, we can see the antenna up here. When it gets this box is where the miner is, so there isn't a whole lot of space between the cable for the antenna and the miner itself. So the less amount of cord that you're using, the better signal you're gonna get. Okay, and I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I think that just makes general sense that if you have 1,000-foot cord, you're gonna get a degraded signal. If you have a 1-foot cord or even smaller, you're gonna get a better signal. Yeah, so for this setup, I would definitely give it a 10 just because of how high they are. Okay, hopefully you don't catch no flack from their HOA. All right, so we're moving on to Facebook here, and yeah, this is a 20 setup in my opinion. Just look, I mean, they're on the roof and they have this high antenna just above everything. You look to be close to being above these tree lines over here. Okay, we look, they have more pictures. I'm guessing this is pre-set up, and this is a look at some of the rewards they're getting. And I gotta say, this is all right. Okay, I mean, it's frequent. They're getting frequent rewards, and that's the one thing that I would say that I don't notice when I'm in the attic. The frequency of my rewards aren't that high, even though I do get more rewards. They're just not as frequent as I would like them to be. So I hope when I do get on my roof that I start to see something like this, you know, just more frequent rewards happening. All right, this is another post from Facebook, and I don't know what to say about this. I mean, it's outside. Okay, I can't zoom in really that close into it. Well, just I can. Zoom in, zoom. So we look at this. I mean, it's outside, which is great. Of course, that I keep saying that the better location, you know, but it does look like the person could have raise the antenna a little bit more just to get over everything, you know, just to make sure there's zero interference. Okay, so if you're outside already, I think it makes sense to take a little bit extra effort just to make sure that in the general sense that you don't have any interference. And it seems like probably like 6 inches to a foot maybe of the antenna is below this chimney looking thing. So I think, you know, it'll probably make the biggest difference for them just to get over that. But hey, I'm not an expert miner. If they're making rewards and if they're happy with the rewards, more power to you. All right, and this is just a little general setup. Okay, we see both the miner and the antenna outside. I think this is pretty cool. So, you know, they have the miner here, they have the antenna up here, and yeah, this is a great setup. This is the setup from somebody that definitely knows what they're doing. All right, and this last one is a clip that I'm going to play for you guys. So let's just look at this. I'm going to be talking through it. So they're not close to their home, but this is just a off-site antenna, and just look at how high it is. Like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. Okay, this is awesome. Just look at how high that antenna is. They bag it on up so you can see how far up that antenna is. The one thing I don't see is I don't see the miner up there. So they do have a longer cord. Okay, there's the miner right there. So I mean, they have a longer cord, long-ish cord, but I guess it's not incredibly long. And if they have one of those better cables, okay, like the LMR 400 or the LMR 600 cable, then, you know, that'll make this, you know, a lot better as well. Just taking another look at this clip here. Yeah, this is just a beauty, just how high it is. And, you know, there's no interference with, you know, their living space. This is all outside. This is all off grid as far as not being in the home, even though they are probably still using the electricity from the home and the internet from the home, of course. But I do like the setup just in general. I like how big it is, and I like that they're given that freedom to be, you know, just completely out. And, you know, that's awesome. That's a perfect picture right there. All right, guys, so that's the video. Nothing too serious here. So what do you guys think? You know, you've seen some of these setups. Do you guys approve all these setups, or are some setups that you think it can be approved? You know, I said that some of these setups can be approved. Let me see. This one here, I believe was, yeah, this one from Germany. I believe that they have some things to work on, but they are outside. If they're making great rewards, then who am I to judge? But, you know, just leave your comments down below. Like I said, subscribe if you're new here. Like the video if you like the video. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.